Welcome friends, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is one of several videos that will feature how I use up tons of white paper scraps. If you're like me, you've got a lot of them. There is a playlist link below if you want to go back and watch the prior videos. So for this first card, I am taking some strips of cardstock, and I've cut them to 1 inch wide, and now I'm scoring them every 1/4 inch and scoring them 3 times. Cut and score 4 scraps. And I am using the Simon Says Stamp July card kit, and I've cut a piece of acetate from that kit to 5 by 7. I brought in a mat and placed my acetate on top just so you can see it, because it's very hard to see. And here I am adding liquid adhesive to one of my frame strips, or strips that I'm going to use to frame this acetate. I'm going to continue using liquid adhesive to affix my frames to my acetate. Here I'm bringing in my shears and just cutting off that top frame, and we'll continue around my frame, affixing those pieces, strips. And once I have them all glued down, I'm bringing in my trimmer and trimming off the excess so that I am left with a framed 5 by 7 panel. This is my frame in my Misty, and I'm bringing in the happy birthday sentiment from that kit. I'm bringing in my StazOn opaque cotton white ink and stamping that twice directly on my acetate panel. I cut down that portion of my pattern paper that I want to use to show through my frame. And you guessed it, I am making a shaker card, and am going to go ahead and add my foam tape all the way around and make sure that I don't have any I guess areas between where my tape meets in each corner that my shaker bits can get out of. So I'm trying to make sure that these are as snug as possible. I don't like my shaker cards popped up very high, so I usually don't double my tape. But if you like yours deeper and higher, definitely double up your tape so that you have a deeper window well. I'm going to speed up the rest of the framing here. You can definitely use the gear in YouTube to slow this down a bit if you want to see this entire portion in slow motion. And here I'm applying I'm cleaning just the debris out of my shaker window. Next, I bring in my anti-static powder tool and apply that around the edges so that my shaker bits don't stick so much to my acetate. Here, I just cut a second acetate piece as a backing for my shaker window. In addition to the gold stars from the kit, I'm going to bring in some silver iridescent stars and moons that I have in my stash. I remove the release paper from directly around my window so that after I put my shaker bits in, I can just place my second acetate panel over top to secure those bits. And after securing that with the second piece of acetate, I am bringing in my double-sided tape and placing that around the border of that second piece of acetate so that when I place this on my card panel, it's really secure. Trimming off the excess from my pattern paper, and we'll go ahead and get that affixed to the back of my frame, and then get this affixed to my card base. I bring in a metallic gold bow that I made off camera, and will affix this to the corner of my panel with a glue dot. I add some foam taped to the back of that ephemera, just around the outside, so that it can rest easily over top the knot on my metallic bow, and everything will be level. Here I'm trimming down my bow, and we'll add some gold stars on the outside of my panel, and then use my Wink of Stella to add a little glitter to the top of my ephemera flower piece. Let me know in the comments some ways you've used your paper scraps. And as in my prior video in this series, I affixed some scraps together and placed them in my MISTI, and am stamping my sentiments, and then I will go ahead and die cut these, and they are ready for my next set of cards. For this card, I have used the same technique and taped on the back 3 of my scraps together to form a panel, and I'm placing my stencil over top, and will bring in some Distress Oxide inks in purples, blues, and greens to blend together to form this card front. I removed my stencil. I brought in my green brush and just used that residual green ink to soften my panel. I trimmed my panel down to 3.5 by 5.5 inches. I die cut a scene from the pattern paper that was in the kit using a frame die, and then I've matted that onto purple. I removed that painter's tape from the back of my panel, and now I'm adding double-sided tape so that I can then affix this to my card base. I used a glue dot to affix my gold bow to the bottom corner of my panel, and am trimming that down, and have popped my sentiment up on foam tape, and we'll go ahead and add that to the top of my metallic bow. I add 3 of those gold stars from the kit to finish off this card. Here's a closer look at both cards I made in today's video. Stay tuned for 3 bonus cards that I made off camera. With this card, I just used a scored scrap of cardstock for the bottom portion of the panel. And here are 2 more cards I made with those sentiments that I stamped and cut out of my scraps. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked the video. And if not a subscriber, will subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Until next time, good day, friends.